And there I was. I had completely broken down my opponent and the victory was mine. But how did I do it, you may ask? To begin with, we must go back a day. It was the 20th of January 2021. I was finishing my training and went home to my grandmother. But there was one difference. My little cousin was there. I knew she was coming over, so it wasn't a big deal. Over time I noticed something strange. She was constantly cracking her knuckles. She was cracking them every time she was in deep thought or under stress. It greatly annoyed my grandmother, but it didn't really bother me. And there it was. The first trap. After a little while we started playing a board game. I recommended a few board games my grandmother should get and something interesting happened. My cousin mentioned that she had played a lot of enaugh but hasn't played it for a while. That set the second trap. My cousin wanted to go out to the store at 9 p.m. to get some milk. She is lactose intolerant, so she couldn't drink the regular milk we had. My grandmother wasn't having it. "You're only 12, she said. That gave me a chance to say, then why don't I go along with her? It went well. We talked about how our grandmother restricts us from doing a lot of stuff and how she acts like we're 6 years old. The third trap was set. 21st of January, a Saturday. My grandmother wanted to go out walking and then to the cinema. She had told us before that she wants to go to an event as well. Thanks to all that, I came up with a plan that gave me everything I wanted. I told my cousin that I have a plan that benefits us both. She of course agreed without any hesitation. The plan was simple. My grandmother leaves and when she's gone I go as well. I already told her I need to go to the neighbor's house for 5 minutes. So I leave and my cousin gets the privacy she wants, and I get to hang with my friends. If my grandmother were to arrive before me, I would have my cousin call me ASAP and I would be there in a flash. The plan was foolproof. But I bet you're wondering, how is that related to the first sentence? It's not. That was not even my master plan. That was just the fourth trap. Me and my cousin talked for a while about my grandmother again and all of the fun things she doesn't allow us to do. When my grandmother arrived, my cousin wanted to play board games again. So I recommended enaugh. It's like tic-tac-toe but bigger and you must get 5 in a row instead of 3. I played with my grandmother and then she played with my cousin and then me again and then my cousin again. She picked up the game quickly, but I had one last plan, aka the last trap. I showed them my main strategy, where I start like this and then build like this. Basically a more complicated version of this. There it was, all the traps had been set and we could start playing a new version of 1 versus 1 versus 1 where we play a 3-way enaugh. I start the game and then it's my cousin's turn and then my grandmother's. I continue with the strategy that I showed them. It is going well, but there is a small problem. My grandmother is really good, but she lost to me every time we played. But now comes the time to unleash my strategy. I knew my cousin had played it before, so she has the enaugh thinking. There was just one problem with that thinking. The rules were a bit different this time. Normally 4 pieces in a row without any obstacles means victory, but this time 2 players could block it. We keep playing and most of my plans keep getting blocked by my grandmother until I see it. I have a line of 3 without any blockers. My cousin gives up and I have the victory. But how did I really do it? I have only mentioned the traps I set but not how they really work. So let me explain. I start by observing my cousin and her patterns. Like I say, she cracks her knuckles every time she is under pressure. That is an easy indicator if she is nervous. She hadn't played enaugh in a while, so I had the idea to play it. I used the fact that she hadn't played in a while, because I knew she would know that 4 in a row unblocked would mean victory, but she would be rusty enough to not achieve it easily. I also made her trust me and made her think that I am against my grandmother. With that, there was only one more thing to do. Show her my strategy. I knew she would be so focused on my strategy that she would forget the special rule. All the pieces were in place. I started taunting her. "Oh, look what Granny is doing. And you could easily win if you just place it in a certain spot." I kept on playing with her mind so much that she didn't even consider that I would be playing with her mind, forcing her to think that I was just a move or 2 away from victory. I had 4 in a row that were not blocked. But I was so deep in her head she didn't even consider that I hadn't won yet. Until I stood up, got a glass of milk and announced my victory. I could barely contain my happiness. And then my cousin announced that she gave up. And there I was. I had completely broken down my opponent and the victory was mine. Thanks to her I confirmed my victory. Because if she gave up, my grandmother couldn't block me. Or if she gave up and just placed it randomly, I would have won as well. I placed all my bets on breaking her and getting that classical TW. I don't know how it worked or how I managed to manipulate her so well, but damn do I feel smart. So to conclude the story, I told my cousin my whole plan. She got scared of me and claims I gave her emotional trauma. Did I go overboard? Yes. Should I have manipulated my cousin? Absolutely not. Was it the most fun way of doing it? Fuck yes. And thus ends my tutorial on how to traumatize a 12-year-old girl. Thank you for listening.